Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. Now, boxing has been hectic almost, and in a good way. There's a lot of fights. This weekend, heavyweight division, Anthony Joshua in the UK. He's fighting the old-timer, legend in the boxing, Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah.
Who do you favor in that fight?
I personally favor Anthony Joshua. I want Anthony Joshua to win that fight because I think it's just like
Better for boxing?
Passing of the torch and better for boxing. I think that Joshua is going to be the, the next, for at least the next few years, be the heavyweight champion. I love Deontay Wilder is one of my favorite heavyweight fighters. I love him because he's American. He's patriotic. He is aware of the fact that there hasn't been an American heavyweight in a long time. So he wants to bring that back. So, but I honestly, I think that him and Joshua, like you said, it's kind of a toss-up fight because of his power still. I think that Anthony's got the edge as far as skill set. He's like the Olympic gold medalist type pedigree. He's got certain things that he favor him in the situation. So I think that he's gonna beat Klitschko, and that'll be like the passing.
How's he beat him?
I think he stops him.
He gonna stop Klitschko?
I think he's gonna stop him. Yeah. I think he's gonna stop Klitschko. I think Klitschko is gonna be bloodied and battered. And I think it's gonna either the corners.
You look like you're enjoying that a little too much.
No, I think that.
You think it'll get the stoppage though?
I'm just smiling because I see you laughing at me from behind the camera. I just think
trying
that.
To blame me.
I just think that
it's his time.
It's his time, And Klitschko has a hard time with fighters that are his height. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, I seen that in the Tyson Fury fight actually.
Okay, so he went on this long period of time where he was always fighting guys who were shorter than him just because of the natural heavyweight division, what was out there. But in his early career, the losses that he had are always big, his size fighters.
Okay.
He has a hard time with that because he likes to hand it to him. He's very good with distance. He's a very good distance fighter. So the way that he's as good as anybody at it. Andre Ward is another one who's, perfect with distance. Not too close, not too far away, can keep you. But when his fighter is as tall as him, it's like it throws off his game. He has a hard time measuring him like he can measure a short guy. So I just think that it's his time. Either it's going to be, I think, a knockout. Unless Klitschko can catch him with something because he still has that power. He's still got power,
That's the last thing to go, huh?
That's the last thing to go. So that could definitely, it can always happen. But I think that Joshua might stop.
Joshua stoppage?
I think so.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if Joshua does win, I don't care who wins. I would just want to see the right person win. But if Joshua does win, I agree with you. I think it's better for boxing. There's more compelling. You got Joseph Parker, who just became a champion. You got Deontay Wilder. And there's a lot of young blood and intriguing matchup stylistic. Tyson Fury versus Joshua would be a good fight.
I'm tired of Klitschko holding on, the family holding on to all those belts for all those years. Over there, they don't fight in America. They fight in Europe. You know what I mean? Half the time we watch the fights, it's like it already happened yesterday. You know what I mean? And we're a rerun. I want to see these fights happen in
real time.
Real time. I want to see them. That's great. They had a good run over there in Europe. You know what I mean? The heavyweight champion was. I don't actually know the exact country he's from. Where is he from?
Ukraine? Klitschko?
Okay, yeah. So they had a good time for how many years? 15 years?
Yeah, they were on top since Lennox Lewis.
Now it's our time to have a heavyweight. And even though he's British, you know what I mean? It's still, British fighters come to America all the time. You know what I mean? You see that with, I don't know what route he'll take. They got a lot of money of fans over there. But you see, we've got an American already. It'll be a great rivalry between the British and America if they come together and fight. So it'll be a big fight. It'll probably happen in America or Britain. It doesn't matter. It's more exciting. We're closer. It's different. So I'm just excited for us to have kind of that competition.
In other words, in the words of Obama, you're ready for change.
I'm ready.
Ready for some heavyweight change.
the best way that you can pretty much sum up how I feel, I'm ready for change in the heavyweight division. That old stuff is old. You know, I'm ready for the new stuff, the new things happening. As long as he's in the game, I just think he's going to continue to.
Now, Anthony Joshua is always, he seems like he's always in mean shape. Some people even confuse him, say he looks like a bodybuilder and stuff like that. What do you think it is with the determination? How do some fighters have it, like where they seem super dedicated, and then you have other fighters like, let's say, Chavez Jr., maybe Broner at spots of his career, where they lack certain discipline to keep their weight down? Like, how are you doing it right now? You don't have any fight lined up. The last fight competition you were going to fight in, you opted to work camps and stay behind. So you tell me from your perspective, I know you're young in your career, but why do some people have that year-round kind of Floyd Mayweather determination and stay in shape and others don't?
It's just like, I think it's just like wisdom. Like, you gotta be...
Who you're around?
Yeah, who you taking with other people's mistakes and not losing focus on what you need to do. I think, but like, wisdom is the main thing. It's like, who you're around, who you have around you, who's keeping you focused, who's talking to you, who's keeping you motivated, and what keeps you motivated. What are you in this for? Are you in it for money? Because money comes and you're done. As crazy as it is, they call Floyd's name is money, but he doesn't fight. In my book, he definitely wants the money, but he was a legacy fighter. He couldn't have. The reason that Broner and all these guys end up just being okay is because $1 million's enough for them. You know what I mean? $1 million is enough. Floyd Mayweather made it to, his business was right. He was a businessman, but his legacy was what drove him. You can't, he was the most focused. He beats the top fighters today. If he came back right now, if he came out of retirement, he'd beat Thurman, he'd beat all of them, all the welterweights. That is greatness right there. Like, that's when you look at him. People who don't give him his just about being one of the greatest fighters of all time. Greatest fighters of all time are the ones that you're in your era right now, and he's from an era before, and he would whoop all of them. You know what I mean? That's the thing about it. He'd beat.
That is crazy because he's 40.
He'd beat the guys that he beat would beat the guys in this era. Miguel Cotto would beat the guys in this era in his prime. Even when he fought Floyd, Pacquiao would beat the guys in this era when Floyd beat him. That's the thing about it. That's greatness. You beat the guys that would beat the guys that are in this era. You know what I mean? Even Shane Mosley, like Oscar De La Hoya, these guys that he beat.
Ricky
Canelo's at the beginning of his career, and he's going to end up taking over.
He'll be a Hall of Famer.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? That's greatness right there. And that's because, not because of money, that's because you can't stay focused in it. This sport is blood, sweat, and tears. Money is not even worth it, what you do in this game. You have to love the sport. And he might have put on a front that he didn't as much as the other guys, and that he was in it for the money, but he was in it for the legacy just because I know what that money couldn't be worth, and no matter how much you love money. As far as what he did, and people who say he didn't go through adversity have never boxed before. That's the thing about it.
Explain.
People say, you know, first of all, people are just so, they just contradict themselves so much because Floyd Mayweather, quote unquote, never went through adversity, never had to get up off the canvas and fight back. But Andre Ward, the next generation, does just that. Gets up off the canvas, moves up in weight to do it, gets up off the canvas, comes back to win a close decision, but now you're not giving him his just due. Half the fans don't make him say he's pound for pound. And I'm saying whether you thought he won that fight or not, he did. So is he pound for pound or not? And gladly, the Ring magazine gave him that spot because he deserves it. But
talk to him, Joey.
As far as people, but the pound for pound list is not as important as the people, maybe to him, because he doesn't really care what you think. And I asked him about the pound for pound list personally, asked him how he felt about that, and he was like, it's just another thing. He doesn't fight for
Award
fans.
you're referring to?
He doesn't fight for fans, he doesn't fight for a list. But what's more important than a pound for pound list is you guys, the people, really giving just due where it's due. You know, giving
the credit,
giving props where it's due. So how are you gonna say this in the same people who said that Floyd didn't get up off the canvas, didn't have any adversity, are probably the same people who are saying that Ward, oh, he got dropped, and pointing out all these things. You should be thinking about how beautiful.
Yeah, I get you. If that's your logic, then Ward should pass the test.
He should be the pound for pound, you know, in everybody's eyes. But anyway, from what we were talking about is Floyd. you say that he didn't go through adversity, you never box, because him being the things that he went through, having to be, I mean, he was at war with his mind he was the most mentally strong fighter of all time, and he was at war with his mind his entire career. The fact that he could go out there time and time again, you know how much pressure he had on him? You know how much pressure he had on them?
How many people wanted to watch him lose?
How many people wanted him to lose? He so easily, one little drop of doubt comes in, you know, him getting hit from Shane Mosley and him having to stay so had to have ice in his veins to get through that fight. And he did all the right things, just like Andre did to have to get up from Kovalev. He got hit with a huge shot. Bronner got hit with a shot from Maidana, and that threw him off the rest of the fight. You know what I mean? Floyd got hit with a huge shot, didn't go down because of how hard he trained in training camp, and then got through the fight and went back to dominate like nothing happened. You know how much mental toughness that's at? But fighters would know that. People who don't fight don't know that, and they'll criticize the fact that he didn't go through any adversity, but you don't really know anything because you didn't box. So that's the thing about that. You got to give credit to like Floyd for the things, even as simple as Ricky Hatton roughing him up for how many rounds. Rough stuff. He went through a war in that fight. Just go back and watch Ricky Hatton versus Floyd Mayweather. Look at how many rounds after rounds that he took abuse. You know how that feels when you wake up after a fight like that the next morning? I mean, he went to hell and back in that fight. You know, he was, getting bull rushed and just little things, low blows and just things that happen in a fight, not even necessarily from Ricky being dirty, just an inside close fight. Comes back, stays calm, doesn't get flustered, comes back down the stretch to stay just ice cool, have just as much stamina at the end, not because of even how much he trained, but because of how relaxed he had to stay, how mentally ready he was. He knew, I'm gonna take over this fight at the end. I'm coming back to take over this fight. He had to be telling himself that the whole time. He doesn't do that effortlessly. He has to think. Like I remember I saw All Access where he was talking about, he started to go into, I was sitting in my room before the Maidana fight, like he was meditating, saying, you gotta stay focused, People don't realize how much of that you really do, especially top fighters at that level, do before a fight like that. Totally, the mental is something that's so understandable as far as what they have to do to get through things like that. When he got cut against Maidana.
You mean like underrated? Like something
it's underrated.
People don't, okay.
People don't realize. You don't just go out there and fight.
They don't consider that aspect of it.
To go undefeated and never even have a mental slip, because all a loss is sometimes a loss is just a mental slip, and then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, my mind wasn't right, and they have to come back and bounce back. The fact that Floyd never had that slip in 49 fights, and like, you shouldn't have to take a loss. You know what I mean? The fact that you're consistent enough to fight 49 times and not lose, that's enough adversity as any. You know what I mean? Like, not letting yourself slip mentally and losing is as much adversity as losing and having to come back. That's the thing that people don't understand.
Wow, I'm impressed, Joey. That's some good stuff.
Appreciate it.
No, I definitely agree with you. I mean, the other thing people don't understand is just everyone in life deals with adversity. Floyd losing and getting robbed in the Olympics, that's adversity. You train your whole life for a shot. You make it, and then you get robbed.
And that's the type of thing that some people, that's enough. You know how much trauma that is?
Have you ever had like a close competitive match where you felt like the fix was in, or you felt like it wasn't the right judgment?
Yeah, every amateur fighter has. Every amateur fighter.
How does that feel?
It's terrible. It's terrible. And
when you know in your heart you really beat the guy?
You think it's like the end of the world, but and then you turn around a year later and you're like, that matters none. You know what I mean? But it's still a loss, especially in an Olympic loss. That's enough for some people to quit boxing and stop. But he, picked it up and went on to be one of the best fighters ever. That's the thing. Like, yeah, I've had, just knowing from experience, I've had times where it was big fights that I really wanted and it didn't go my way, and I thought that I won. Watched the tapes over and over again, and in the moment you think you're like, man, this means everything. All this stuff. But eventually it just fades away, and as long as you're doing the right things and you're good enough, you're just going to keep being successful, and then eventually no one's even going to remember that.
Now I'm gonna put you on the spot. Name 3 Floyd Mayweather fights or performances that you just really like, and then just briefly say why you liked it. Like Floyd fights, any fight.
I always watch the Maidana fight, the Hatton fight, and what's another one? I watch the Cotto fight a lot. But
Okay, Maidana, why?
actually, all of them probably the same reason, because I liked watching him experience fire, like the fire. You have him, all over you, and stay calm in the moment to come back and win at the end. Kind of like why I like watching Andre Ward fight Kovalev, because it's amazing to see them. It's amazing to see them really have to look at themselves and examine where they're at in the fight. In like the second or third round when Ward got dropped, he had to think, okay, I got 10 more rounds, you know what I mean? And okay, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? And make a decision and do it. Floyd sitting on the ropes, getting hit with body shots and low blows, and Ortiz getting headbutt, and you gotta think, okay, I'm good, and then come back down the stretch and win the fight. That's just toughness mentally. So if I'm fighting a guy that I know is like rough and rugged, and I'll watch those fights a lot, or if you go to a tournament and you don't know who you're gonna fight, watch those fights just to know, no matter what happens in the first round, your pedigree is gonna take over at the end, because you're just a better fighter. You know what I mean? As long as you believe that you're a better fighter than anybody that can come, and a lot of times people who know that they're not as good technically or don't have the background you have as a boxer, they'll try and bull rush you, like Edwin Rodriguez did against Ward. Try and bull rush you because they think that that's their only chance. Some people will be like, not as mentally tough fighters will take it, and they'll get that happen to them, and then they'll panic, and they'll let it work for that person. That's what they want. They want to increase your adrenaline. They want to get you all hyped up so that you're tired by the time that they fade, and because they can't do that the whole fight. By the time that they fade, then you're too tired to do anything about it. But those guys, you stay confident, you stay comfortable, and once they die down, then you're still ready. You know what I mean? So as long as you know that in your mind, like, okay, they're gonna get tired, then you'll stay fresh. You'll be able to put it on.
That's a good point. I don't know if I've even thought of it like that. Like, just they incite you basically to make you burn energy.
Yeah, it's like they like push out like. It's like false energy, you know what I mean?
Because they know they don't have the skill to maybe match you.
Exactly. You're in control of that, though. You're in control of that. You've got the control if you take it. You know what I mean? You can tire. If I'm sitting here shadowboxing, I'm on the bag. You're resting in between because you know nothing's coming back. You can do the same thing in the ring, even though you know it's coming back, but a lot of times, me, I obviously don't have it mastered, and I want it. Like a guy like Shakur Stevenson I look at a lot, is he is able to like create a relaxation. Like he's relaxed in every area that he can be relaxed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He expends energy when he throws punches, but when you're just sitting here looking at me, I'm not all tense, like, oh, he's about to throw a punch. You know what I mean? You gotta be take it for what it is. Don't make it what it's not. You know what I mean? Don't make it like you're worried about him throwing you, so you're actually expending energy when you're really not doing anything. You're just sitting there, but you're getting tired as you're not doing anything because of what your mind's doing. Your mind's letting you go there and letting you get tired that way. And it all comes down to just the mental aspect. And you have to know that nothing's going on right now. I could be shadowboxing right now. You know what I mean? Nothing's happening, so stay relaxed. Be confident right in the pocket. Know that if he throws something, I'm going to make him miss. You know what I mean? So I shouldn't be worried. I mean, if he hits me, it's boxing, so then I come right back, you know? I mean, make it happen. You find the answer to it. So that's the main thing. It's just
Damn, you guys heard it first. The Art of War sounded like a Zen master. No, I agree. You definitely have to be tranquil in there and composed and calm. I mean, I even like when I looked at Tank Davis, his last fight, he impressed me because he was composed. He was facing a champion, and he seemed relaxed. So
in front of a lot of critics too, and he had to just be like, and it's funny because when you're mindful of that whole process, you can watch a fight like Tank's fight, and see him battling that, and see him like, you're thinking in your mind, okay, he's probably thinking right now, like calming himself down right now. You know what I mean? While he's
so this is so from your perspective as a fighter, this is what a fighter's thinking at like ongoing in their mind. They're battling because you said that with Floyd. So you think in the fight, they're thinking like this, like okay, he got that shot off, and they're playing it back in their head.
You're always playing. You're talking in your mind, like you're talking to yourself almost the whole time. You hear other fighters talk about it. Peter Quillen says, your biggest fight is with your mind. Peter Quillen said that, you know, one of the times, and I was like, you know, it's just reassurance like that. It's every fighter deals with it. And the sooner you learn that and master it, the more successful you're going to be. And I'm a firm believer that the most successful people in the sport have mastered it. And it's obvious. Look at the most mental tough fighters. I would say Ward, Floyd, even Bernard Hopkins. Lomachenko is very smart, wise, you know what I mean? Guys like that are able to really be successful in the sport because the sooner you master that, you won't have to, like Floyd, you know, he didn't have to take a loss to learn that. And I'm sure that that was something that his dad taught him when he was young. He learned it somewhere, or he was born just naturally gifted in his mindset. But the sooner I'm an amateur fighter and I don't have it yet. I don't have it all the way there yet. You know, I'm still learning and growing as a fighter. But the sooner you start to work on it, the more successful you're going to be. A guy like Bronner, you hear him talking about it. He might not even know that he's at war with his mind, but you can tell that he is. When he lost the fight with Maidana, he was like, I gotta get more focused. I gotta get more focused. I gotta get more dedicated. But it doesn't necessarily mean you need to train harder. It might just mean that you need to conquer your mind. You know what I mean?
Boxing Ego with Joey Spencer, out of Michigan, straight out of Michigan. Where can the fans follow you? What's your Instagram?
At Joey D. Spencer on Instagram. Follow me.
All right. Now, let's say when you were coming back from New York, you took United and they tried dragging you off. What would you do?
I would get off.
You would listen?
That's what I would do.
Okay. No, that's not the
They wouldn't have to drag me. They would give. I think they just tell me. All right.
You're like, all right, I don't want no trouble. Oh yeah, your hands are lethal weapons.
Right. I mean,
so you can't do nothing.
I could probably handle myself in this situation, but I would just get off the plane. And I would get off the plane and then I'd handle it afterwards. They'd be giving me some money afterwards, but I would just chill in the moment.
All right, fair enough.